This is an Ellis Mowers and Mower small engine repair. Stay connected on Instagram and Facebook at Ellis Mowers and More. Comments or questions? Leave them below or email me, ellis@ellismowers.com. Parts used in today's repair are found using the links in the description below. And as always, like and subscribe for more small engine content. On today's small engine repair, we're going to do this Honda HR194 push mower. Not in bad shape overall, honestly. Just a little dirty. What I know it needs, and hopefully the only thing that it needs, is an ignition coil. Not getting any spark at all to the spark plug, nor on the spark plug tester. And what is going on is hopefully the ignition coil is bad. So in this video, I've already taken off the old ignition coil. I'll show you how to put it back on. It's really not too bad to get off. And once we get it back on, we'll just hopefully see if it's got some spark to it. I'll show you how to test it and a couple other things. And whatever else comes up after that, I don't know. This thing's been sitting for a good 2 years in my shed. Super nice machine. Wanted to get it out, get it going. And so I'll give you an overview of it. We'll look at the ignition coil, test it, put it on, see if it works, and go from there. Hopefully y'all enjoy the journey. Let's get started. So here we are. Here's the new ignition coil right here. And you measure the resistance on the ohm meter. And I thought this was a little on the high end, but it may be in spec for this machine. You can see it's about 10.3, 10.2 ohms on this ignition coil. This ignition coil, as you can see, a little bit different. I don't think I registered anything on this ignition coil whenever I tested it. Yeah, see, I'm not registering anything on this ignition coil. Trying to find a good, that's a bare metal ground right there. So again, what I did first too is pull the kill wire out just to make double sure that it wasn't anything safety switch related or anything along those lines, and it was not. So at least by my calculations, in order to get everything off here, you need to take off this pull rope, which is just 3 screws. And then that should allow you to get off, I think there may be a couple of screws on the side that you got to take off on each side. Gas cap may have to come off as well. And then it's right here. So we have the spark plug. I have this kit that came with it. Came with a new ground wire and a new spark plug. If the ground wire is fine, we're not going to worry about rerouting a new ground wire. I don't think there's any issue with that, especially with how easy it is to get to this. I mean, it's not hard at all to get to this. So we got the throttle. Which everything seems to be working from what I can tell. Hopefully. So let me get a spark plug. We'll change that out. Hopefully this is all that this machine needs. It may need a carb clean, but I'm pretty sure it may have sat with no gas in it. I'm not completely sure. I have to double check, look down in there. So the spark plug, you can see, is pretty bad off anyways, so not a bad idea to just throw a new one in it. This is one of them savior ones. I know people don't really like them. Came with the kit. Might as well give it a try. all parts will have bad apples in them somehow, some way. 90% of the aftermarket stuff I buy works just fine though. Alright, so now what we got to do, put the new ignition coil on. What side is it going to be? Can never get these right because this one's kind of oblong, but it looks like it'll go like this. Just because of the way that the kill wire is. The kill wire, this is how it went before. So I'm assuming that this is how this one's going to go too. What we've got to do is get it basically, so the good news is this flywheel is right on the whole way around instead of some of them just having a little jut out for the magnet, so that's a positive. We're just going to take these and grab my 10mm. You can use a business card to gap it. A lot of times, I just eyeball it. You can double check with the feeler gauge if you want to, but it's close and it's going around smooth. You can tell that the machine has compression, so that's a positive. And we'll just pop this into the spark plug there. It'll probably route itself around. And we'll put the cover and everything back on, which is fairly straightforward and simple. Might have to bunch up this wire a little bit to get it to work, but we will make it work. There are two bolts in the front that I missed earlier. They actually attach to the valve cover. And just have to get this in forward. Get everything off to where, just line everything back up, guys. It's super simple. Put some bolts back in. I'll put the bolts back in and we'll see if this, because I need to pull it to see if this fixes the issue that we have. So, this is back on. Again, the 3 bolts here, and you have 2 bolts. Third bolt puts the dipstick on. 4th bolt's right here in the front. The 5th bolt goes behind the air filter. Make sure that everything, your kill wire is hooked up. I forgot that. And everything associated with the spark plug wire is not rubbing on the exhaust or anything to burn it up. So just for now, I'm going to throw a little bit of carb spray in it. I'm just going to see if it kicks off. The blade shouldn't come on or anything. It should just run. Choke, high throttle. How about it? Let's try it. Maybe not. Or is this, let's see, that's self-propel, that's blade, so it should run. Let's see, let's pull this out again, just do a spark test on it. So we're getting strong spark, which is good. Woo. That's excellent. There we go. All right. We're getting there. Now my next step is I'm tempted to put some gas in it, because I do know that the reason this was parked was because of a no spark situation. So thing fits on with some authority there too. So I'm tempted, I'm just gonna put some gas in it and I'm just gonna pull it a few times to see if it comes to life. If not, we'll go into the carb next. But that's a relief nonetheless. The good news is I don't see any leaks so far. I have to take the carb off and we'll have to replace the fuel line though. That fuel line is hard as a rock. But it's holding, so let's choke it and just see what happens here. Stuck throttle, that's what happened. And the kill wire didn't work, so that's interesting too. Probably because the throttle is stuck, that's why, because it doesn't move the armature down any. All right, so that's something. We'll get it in the, let's see. We just may have some stuck linkages here that we need to free up. We could just have a bad cable. Yeah, well, no, cables look good. I think the linkages are just free, or frozen up right there. So let me grab some WD-40. The linkages, I gotta show y'all, are right here, but y'all heard it run on its own. So if I can get this sorted out, we're gonna be in good shape. Like I said, everything's tucked right here for the throttle cable and whatnot. So you can see it moving. It's just not, it's kind of curling up back here, so it leads me to believe that I've got a issue going on this end where it just hasn't moved in a while. So lubricant on that end, lubricant and a little bit of working back and forth hopefully will resolve these issues here very shortly. So I found 2 points that needed lubricant. The first one actually, so what I've done is I've taken off this air filter housing. Not a big deal. It's 2 nuts here on the carburetor. The third bolt goes right there, you can see, just to take that off to get better access. So the first hang up was right here with the throttle cable where I thought it's now free, the choke is free, but my only other hang up right now is the actual throttle butterfly and everything. So I'm trying not to have to take it off of the machine to do this, just because Hondas and gaskets, especially once you get some age on this, may be a little difficult. But we're getting there. I just keep working it back and forth, and the goal is it's got to be free enough so that the armature over here for the governor will actually go back and forth whenever it commands it to. So what I did is I took some spray lubricant, just like I sprayed right here where the spring is. I actually sprayed it inside of the carburetor because that's where the butterfly usually gets hung up, is on some junk inside the carburetor. And I sprayed it on top. So it's been working down there. I've just been working this back and forth. And we're almost to the point to where, we're actually, I think we are. Finally got it freed up enough to where it looks like the throttle can be, there we are, awesome. So we shouldn't have any throttle issues anymore, and we shouldn't have any issues with shutting it off either. So that was a little scary a little earlier there, wasn't it? But that's all right. Sometimes got to have a little bit of action in order to get what you need to get done. So that's really good. Hopefully this carb is not gummed up or anything again. So the throttle armature is good now. I don't have any leaks in the carburetor, at the carburetor and the fuel line, so that's good. And so the kill switch situation is right here, and it activates the switch whenever you turn it all the way down, and then obviously it pulls it back whenever you have the throttle and the choke up. So kind of an interesting design. It works. It didn't work earlier because this armature didn't move, so it didn't ground anything out. While we're here, might as well finish put everything back on here. Breather pipe and your nuts and bolt for the machine. For the air filter housing. Perfect. You get it back on the ground. Hopefully this thing won't rev its head off this time. We're going to try this again, hopefully with better success this time. So, mid throttle. See if it'll start. Look at that. That's awesome. It's a little bit of a smoker, but it may be a little bit high on the oil dipstick. It also has it running a really, really long time, so I don't know exactly. And that's a WD-40. Oh, that's a. Is that a fuel leak or a WD-40 down here? Don't know. I think it's just WD-40. That thing started right there on the first pull. How about that? Self-propel, I think, is a little interesting. I'm gonna just drive it a little bit to see if it works any better. Put the air filter on. The blade works. I think the self-propel may just need a little bit of loosening up because it's a shaft drive. Probably ain't running a while. So I'm gonna give it a good little run, put the air filter back on, see if it quits smoking, check the oil, change the oil, probably put a new pull rope on it, and give it a good wash and a blade sharpen. So we've got a little bit of work to do, but really minimal effort to get this thing running. And the blade works. The PTO, like I said, the self-propel. So that's awesome. I'm going to work on this a little bit more. Again, just little menial things. Some of them which I might show you, some of them I may not. But any parts I use, like the ignition coil, I'll put some pull rope, WD-40 and stuff in the description below. That way you can buy those parts if you need them. Use those links. I get a little bit of commission off of them, so I do appreciate that. Let me see what I get into, and I'll show you the next steps here. Well, guys, there it is. Cleaned up. I'll tell you what, ever since we put that ignition coil on it, this thing starts like you barely have to pull it, and it starts right up, which is fantastic. I'm really happy that that's the only issue that this thing really had, aside from just having a bunch of linkages frozen up from where it hadn't run in a while. We freed them up. The self-propel, the only thing is, the self-propel I'm not fully fond of, but it works fine. It only works on number 2 speed, and sometimes it gets hung up when you're in grass and cutting, because I did cut a little bit with it just to double check to make sure the smoke is cleared up on it. There's a little bit of valve train noise, but it runs great. Again, I don't know how many hours are on this thing. It's used pretty well. Again, shaft drive self-propel, which is a big plus. And then the heavy duty composite, or not composite deck, but the aluminum deck on this thing. So excellent. I think it's the aluminum deck. I'm not. I mean, it's some heavy duty, like it's some thick stuff. This is a commercial grade mower, y'all. Probably a lot of homeowners or a lot of commercial grade guys use these to get around. Let me pull this. Should start right up for us. Well, I don't have a lot of gas in it. Hold on a second. One other thing I had to do, you can hear how good it runs. The throttle's a little lazy, and I'll show you why. One thing I had to do, I've got to put this little cover back on, and that's the last thing I've got to do on this thing, is this spring right here is not right. It's stretched out a little bit. This governor, what's acting as a governor spring, I moved it from this hole to this hole, and it seems to be doing a lot better. It was falling on its face whenever you first turn the blades on. And so I moved it to that hole. It seems to have better response now, so that's positive. It's not dying whenever you cut grass. So governors on Hondas are a little odd and how they work, but I think I got this one down pat. I just got to put that plate back on and we're good. Again, cleaned up super nice for what it is, especially for how long it had been sitting. It had been sitting either under a tarp or under shelter ever since I got it, and the guy before me had it. When he had it under shelter too. And I'll tell you what deal I got this in for long-time viewers here when I wrap this video up. But again, everything works good. The self-propel sometimes gets stuck, and sometimes y'all hear it go click, 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 click. Well, it doesn't. It takes a second to lock in, because like if you halfway do it, it locks. It just kind of goes click, 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 and then it locks in when you do this. Sometimes it seems like only when you're cutting grass. Whenever I pull this back, sometimes it'll go, and I have to kind of kick it once or twice to get it to stop. That's the only alarming thing, the thing that I don't like. I will disclose that to the new owner, just so that he doesn't run it into, y'all saw me running in the back of this golf cart I had here too. So last thing you want someone to do is run it into something. I lubed everything up underneath though, to hopefully stop that from happening again. A lot of tight stuff. But either way, we'll wrap this video up next. So essentially that is everything. I know I mentioned I may replace the pull rope on it. You shouldn't be pulling the mess out of this pull rope. This pull rope's in okay shape, and I've pulled it a good probably 10 to 20 times already, and it's been doing just fine. So I sharpened the blade. The oil was clean and full, so I didn't even bother with that. The smoke cleared up. We got a new coil on it. Within about an hour, roughly, of me starting on this, maybe an hour and a half, we have a functioning mower again. So that's excellent. That should be reliable for the next person. Y'all know these Hondas, they'll just go, go, go. The problem is with selling this is that you have to get like it's a specific buying pool for these things because it's an older Honda, it's not a newer Honda. Shaft drive, commercial grade. A lot of people don't know what this is, really. They just think, oh, it's just another, Lowe's machine, which Hondas aren't being sold anymore, so you never know. We'll find out together, though. I'm going to list it for like $140. I think with the condition and the age on it, with a couple of little quirks that it has, I think that's a fair asking price for it. It's probably realistically going to sell for between 100 and 120. So we'll see what ends up happening. But for the fact that I got this over 2 years ago now, if y'all remember that Cub Cadet zero turn that I bought as part of a trade deal with the Troy built 50-inch Mustang zero turn. Again, that's 2 years ago. Y'all can go back and search those videos and maybe be able to find that. I got this as part of that trade deal. I made good on the Cub Cadet zero turn. We're gonna make good on this. I think I had another Honda push mower in that. And then on over here, I'll show y'all real quick because a lot of y'all are curious. We're obviously busy right now. Y'all know I'm full-time with this now too. So I am going to be in the process of cleaning out and sorting everything out here. But we're gonna get there. This was the other machine. At the time it started, but wouldn't run, or it would not start. It would crank, but it would not start. But now it's not even starting. Obviously, it's been sitting there here basically ever since I traded. And I really need to get on thinning this out again, even though I did last year. And I'm like, golly. But we're getting there. I just wanted to show y'all that because I know some of y'all are longtime followers of the channel and are curious about what's going on around here. But that's it for this HR194 Honda. I really do appreciate y'all watching. It's because of y'all that this transition has been fairly easy so far, and I know I can always fall back on the YouTube helps, the affiliate marketing helps, and this is kind of the bread and butter right here, fixing things and selling them off. And as long as I can keep it up, making videos and everything for y'all, this should be full-time perpetually. We'll find out. But thank you all again for watching. Thanks for watching this HR194 as we replace the ignition coil with I'll have all the links in the description below for the ignition coil basically, because that's what we did. I'll see y'all in the next video. Take care.